When to drink tea? Maybe you are new to gourmet tea and you are just now discovering that tea is not only good for cold winter days and when you are sick. Or you are a tea expert, you are already into farmer tea and would like how to integrate tea in your daily routine even more. No matter if you are a beginner or a connoisseur, this video is meant for you. Hi guys, this is Gabriele from nannuoshan, where we share the pleasure of drinking and discovering genuine farm tea. Today I would like to disclose with you a few moments, my personal tea moments, when I drink tea during the day, and maybe in this way I will inspire some of you to drink more tea or to find better spot during the day about when to drink tea. It doesn't have to be that your moments are the same as mine, right? It's just an example. I thought actually doing this video into a more general way, try to addressing every possible scenarios out there for drinking tea. But at the end, it's kind of difficult. So I thought I just give my personal view, what I actually experienced during my day with tea, and that hopefully will inspire some of you. Well, one very common occasion, I would say at least once every week, that I find myself drinking tea is actually while recording YouTube videos. Like right now, I'm drinking a Baimudan, a Mudan 1 from this year, spring 2022. And I really like, as you have noticed, when I do tea videos, to of course drink a tea alone. Now, you might not find yourself in doing a lot of YouTube video as I do, but nonetheless, maybe you have some special occasion that recurs once a week, once a month, during which you can integrate tea, and that becomes part of that habit, if you want. Another situation where I find myself drinking tea, and in particular that was a few months back during spring, when I was actually sourcing tea for nannuoshan. And in that case, it was just a weekend during an evening, Saturday evening after dinner, and instead of going for a digestive tea, which is something I would do usually after dinner, I just decided to go for a parallel tasting of 3 teas that I might source or not for nannuoshan this spring. Now, parallel tasting is not something that only vendors should do. It's something that you also can do because it's very beneficial for learning tea. And it doesn't have to be done with a lot of concentration and so on. You can just do it, on the side. You just start very slowly. You weight your amount of leaves, in this case 4 grams each. Then you look at the dry leaves and you try to spot already in which direction the tea will go. In this case, I really like the color of the second one. That was a little bit pink in a way, and it is a tone of pink in the leaves of pu'er that I sometimes have seen in tea from Linsang, and that I connect with a specific taste that I like. And then you start on your tasting, besides doing whatever you are doing. In my case, I actually was watching at the review of running shoes, and then whenever I want to taste the tea, I just pause the video so that I can concentrate myself on the taste. Very interesting here, by the way, we have 2 very expensive tea. This is even a Huampian, but it's a Huampian from Bingdao, so very expensive. This is from Dapingjiang near Jingmai. Also a very small tea garden up there, and it's also fairly expensive. This one actually, it comes from a region in Linz, and it's not that famous. It's by far the cheapest of them all, and is the one I like the most. So it's probably the one that you will see on the website. That was comparative tasting, an experience that I really suggest doing. But what about normal days, when you just, get up, you start your day with breakfast? What tea does Gabriele drink at breakfast? Black tea is my usual go-to for breakfast. Some days aromatics, some other days bold, depending on my mood and depending also on what I'm actually eating on that day. Today, actually, I have a special meal. I don't have bread left at home. I don't have muesli. And what I will go for is this baked pastry here with pretty heavy with nuts, with raisins, with pine nuts, even with grappa. There's a bit alcohol in there. I have also a yogurt and I will drink along a little bit of milk. So I thought black tea, for some reason, just the feeling, doesn't fit very well. And so I decided to go for a kind of special matcha, if you want. Special because it is not the standard thin or thick matcha, but it is somewhat in between. So I used the 4 gram that I would usually use for koicha, so for the thick matcha. But instead of doing just 30 milliliters of water for getting really thick fluid, I will go for a little bit more, for just a little bit more water, because at the end, you know, it's breakfast. So I will get quite an intense taste nonetheless, but at the same time also something to drink, right? Because 30 milliliters, you don't really drink much. And this is also a good substitute, by the way, for coffee in the morning. So if you want a kick, but you don't want to go for coffee, you can certainly prepare yourself a matcha. It's fairly quickly, and maybe actually I should do a video about how I like to prepare matcha. That was my breakfast, but doesn't have to be yours, so adjust it according to your needs. I gave you some suggestion about a few teas that I find suitable for breakfast, but maybe there is something else that you prefer. But well, that's just the starting of the day. During the day, most of us have to work. So what tea does Gabriele drink during working and how? Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening. That was the last meeting of the day. Unfortunately, I have more meetings in a day than I have teas, but I try always to drink tea alone actually when I work. That's why also I have actually 3 different kettles. They all look the same in all 3 rooms of the apartment. So whenever I move with my laptop around, I can just brew a tea without too much concern. And I usually put everything on a tray like this one, so that when I have to switch to another room, sometimes it's Caroline that needs this room and needs more privacy, then I can just grab my tray and I go along. As for which tea to drink while working, well, I would say that it really depends. But for me, I usually don't go for too demanding teas. Is like more a company tea, not something I really have to concentrate a lot on. And the fancy teas are for other moments, but nonetheless I want some quality. Actually, this one is an exception just because after a dance-on that I had earlier today, I felt like shank thirst is, those of you that like pu'er knows what I mean, when you really have that feeling that you just need a shank. You are thirsty, but not of water. You are thirsty of shampoo, and here we are. And it depends. Sometimes I keep it even very simple, like you see here. I don't even have a Gondao Bay. I'm just pouring out from the guy one straight in the cup. A lot of leaves inside, but who cares? They go down and that's fine. So my suggestion for you, if you work from home, is a little bit easier. When I am in the office, also there I have actually my kettle and my gonfuchati set. What I usually do use at work is actually a Quaker Bay. I use a Quaker Bay. I don't know why, just because it's convenient. It never really needs to have a Gondao Bay. I have a second cup and a third cup in case some other colleague would join. For example, in the meeting, I would take the tea with me, and then I can just pour directly from the Quaker Bay into the cups. And also in the Quaker Bay, you have also an embedded filter that helps actually keeping the leaves away, which is not what I'm doing right now here. You can pair tea not only with breakfast, but also with other meals. Something I commonly do is actually pairing tea in the evening at dinner. And it's always a little challenge, let's say, depending on what food you have prepared, and try to understand what would be a good match, which tea would be a good match, and then if you're not eating alone, just discussing the topic with your partner, whoever you have around the table, to see if it was a good match. You know, there are different kind of way of matching tea with food. We have a whole video about that you can check it out. So that's certainly a little bit of a challenge if you want, and a little bit of an entertainment and a pleasure. Now, dinner, all right, dinner is gone. We have drunk our tea. The day is not over. So what happens after dinner? Well, after dinner, they have a kind of it really depends, you know. Most of us maybe just sit in front of the television and watch a movie, or maybe read a book. As for me, I spend a lot of time watching YouTube videos in the evening, depending on topics that I like. It could be that we drink tea and we watch exactly the same video. Let's see if you actually recognize the voice of the YouTube video we are watching.
Be oriented southwest. So I started asking questions as usual to the farmers.
Yeah, that was William from Farmer Leaf. We were watching a video about pu'er from him, and sometimes we watch different videos. You know, it's not that all my videos and all Caroline's video really match. So in that case, I was watching actually some running videos, some YouTube running videos, and on my side, Caroline was watching some, I don't know how to say, some girly series maybe. That was my day from breakfast to after dinner. Now, on most of the days, I also go for some sport, mostly outdoor, and in the weekend is certainly I take my time, let's say. So I take my time to do proper sport and also to drink some tea before I go out. On weekends, I usually go out for a jog very early in the morning. It's kind of the first thing I want to do when I get up. And now you cannot really have breakfast before going out for a run or doing any other intense sport activity. But nonetheless, I don't really want to go on an empty stomach. What I usually do, I prepare a tea, and I prepare a tea, not any kind of tea, certain kind of tea, and I just eat a little bite. And this gives me a little bit of energy and also hydrate me. Today I'm going to run for 1.5 hours, maybe even longer. I don't want to stop and drink on the way, so I want to be hydrated from the very beginning. And today I choose a black tea, a Chim and Malfan, which in my opinion, black tea, especially when it's not extremely aromatic, goes very well with honey. And before running, it's kind of an habit of me, I really go for a little bite, a little bread with some honey on it. And I think that combination honey and black tea really works only with some dark oolong, but I would certainly not drink before sport green tea, certainly not the matcha or any other green tea. I wouldn't drink very green and fresh oolong or very fresh white tea. So teas that I suggest for a run are or before sport are certainly aged or fairly oxidized white teas. We say the black tea, dark oolong, shampooer only if very aged, I would say 15 years plus, and shupuer would also work. It's not so much, I don't know, for me, I don't associate it very much with the sport activity, but nonetheless, that's certainly not harming your stomach, which a green tea like fresh fruit or a salad would do, so avoid those. Before I go out for a run, as you have seen, I don't eat a lot. But when I come back, especially if it is a kind of long training and quite energy consuming, well, that's a different story. It was a nice and easy jog along the river. Beautiful. And now I got here some proper breakfast with some tea, of course. So after sport, I really like the opposite as before. I really like to have something fresh, and I go in this case for a green tea. I really like. It doesn't matter if it's cold brew or hot brew like this. It's anyway cooling down your body. It goes along well with fruits, bananas, apples, and surprisingly to me also very well with cheese actually. So I have green tea. This is a baicha, and not the Nanji baicha, another type of baicha. And then we have some caprese here with burrata, banana, and sweet and savory bread. I can show you the leaves in a second. Let's do a first tip. That's yeah, maybe you can see them. Let's try. So that's my suggestion for sport. Before the sport, something warming, something hydrating, so just a little bit of tea, black tea in my case this morning, and maybe a little bite. And then after the sport, have a proper meal. My case is more a brunch, kind of brunch today, and some refreshing tea like a green tea. Besides tea, besides sport, besides work, besides food, another important aspect of my life is certainly traveling. I travel a lot, I love to travel, and since I travel so much, I cannot really leave tea at home. So when I travel, I usually pack some tea with me, a travel tea set, and depending on the type of journey, I would even already prepare some water, put hot water, boiling some water, put it in a thermos and take it along with me. So in that case, for example, I was out for a long train journey, and so I decided to take already some hot water from home so that I could prepare the tea in the train and kind of killing the time that way. In some other cases, I just go out for a longer traveling, and in that case, I would just, take only the tea bags with me, some travel set, and on the way, I will find water. Some cases I also take an empty thermos if I have enough space. Depends, if I am on a flight with no check-in luggage, then it's a bit more difficult to take everything with me. Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it actually. There are of course other situations, right? What I haven't shown you is all the situation where I drink tea with friends, which is a crucial aspect. You have seen it also. We have a whole playlist, nannuoshan and friends, because I love drinking tea with others. You can do that in real or online. When you do that in real, you just meet up with your friends. If you're lucky and in your city, there are other people drinking tea at the level you do. Or you can do it also virtually. I do a lot of video calls on Discord with other tea lovers. If you're also interested in participating, you will find the link in the description below. As mentioned multiple times in the past videos, we do not only leisure tea drinking together, we do also tea classes, we do some blind tasting. We have a lot of private collection tea that we sourced only for blind tasting and educative content on Discord. So if you feel like joining our community there, just click on the link in the description below and you will be in, and you will receive a message from me as soon as you enter, or maybe a few hours later. It depends when I have time to watch the Discord. So that's it. I hope that was a little bit inspiring for some of you, that maybe gave you some ideas about how to integrate tea in your daily routine. If this is the case, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and go ahead, subscribe the channel if you haven't done it so. Thanks a lot for watching, and as always, I'll see you next week. Bye guys.